Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This is the Old Fools podcast, hosted by me, David Quantick, and Ian Martin.
Yes, I'm Ian Martin, state pensioner and nuisance, and our co-host today is comedy legend Rebecca Front. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Front, and also, I'm not a state pensioner, but I am a nuisance.
And a legend.
Oh, I'm definitely a legend, yeah.
Well, that's it then. See you next week.
Yeah, that was,
great.
Honestly, guys, that was just brilliant.
Yeah, I haven't really got a lot to say this week, so I'm just going to stay in the background and leave you two guys.
You realise saying a few things quietly isn't going to benefit the podcast at all. You've either got to turn up, show up, and make us all proud, or just don't bother. Okay, that's the pep talk, guys. Come on.
Okay,
group hug.
Shall I start with some housekeeping? Yes, I will. Everybody's nodding except David Quantick.
What are you talking about? Housekeeping.
It'll be emergency exit.
Look, it's the SOS podcast messages. We're now obliged by the Labour government to include SOS podcast messages. They used to be on the BBC, you remember?
Are we really? Is that really a legal obligation?
Yeah, it is. It's a statutory obligation. Just read the small print, son.
All right, then.
Okay, you remember in the old days, you used to go think something like, and now an urgent SOS message from Mr. Kenneth Mumford, believed to be travelling in the Peak District. Will Mr. Kenneth Mumford go to Mildmay Mission Hospital, London East, where his mother, Mrs. Ivy Mumford, is dangerously ill? That's the end of the SOS message and the end of the news. Only they said it in a much posher voice. Well, SOS messages became redundant, didn't they? Because everybody had a mobile phone. But now people have stopped checking their mobile phone every 5 minutes because they're doing digital detox or, giving a mental health break or whatever. So they're listening to podcasts now instead of the news. So we have to interrupt the podcast with SOS messages. And you'll know that I wish you'd stop looking at me like that, Quan.
Oh, sorry, you're still talking.
You'll know when one's about to happen because it'll make a noise like this.
Sorry, I was just thinking about poor Ian Mumford and his mum. I hope she's all right in Mildmay Hospital.
Yeah, well, that was 1956. I'm sure everything's fine now.
Oh, that's
it'll work his way out.
Can you also use a Swanee whistle, for the messages that are important but not quite so depressing? So you get more of
I'm afraid the budget doesn't run to that. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you have a Swanee whistle to hand, feel free. But no, I've just got a stupid 10 quid voice changer. Anything been on your mind, Rebecca Front?
Do you know, I've been trying a digital detox, in fact. I've been trying to have very little on my mind.
Well, that's ideal, obviously, for our purposes.
Yeah, but I failed because Trump got re-elected. I don't know if you guys heard about that. It's been
on
the news.
I've heard wind.
And it's all coming flooding back, all that awful derangement syndrome. Yes, I am a victim of just constantly looking at all these things in the news and thinking, oh my God, it's only been a month and we're already up to our ears in this stuff. So that's been driving me crazy. And then the only thing that's been driving me even more crazy is this awful kind of smug, insulting contrarianism of obviously Musk. You knew I was going towards Elon Musk, but also Steve Bannon doing their kind of, "Ooh, aren't I daring?" Nazi salutes, and then going, "Wasn't a Nazi salute? What, me? I didn't do a Nazi salute. I just have this problem with my arm, and every so often it shoots outwards." That is driving me insane because it's just so insulting and so sort of degrading of people who went through the unspeakable awfulness of the Second World War. And anyway, it's that thing of, oh, you're all so woke, and
Yeah.
If you were a bit less triggered by everything, you wouldn't mind me just shooting my arm out. It's just a wave. It's just a wave. I don't know what your problem is.
They keep calling it a Roman salute, you know, and forgetting that Mussolini famously did one of them in Rome.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that, though, Ian. Nothing wrong with
Someone on Blue Sky was remembering the way the BBC used to dub Jerry Adams' voice with someone else because Margaret Thatcher decided to deny Sinn Féin the oxygen of publicity. And someone was saying, why can't you do that with Trump? And so there was a conversation about who might dub Trump's words. And I thought Julian Clary. I thought this lovely kind of, this lilting, posh, withering, full of contempt lip syncing would be bloody brilliant. We should ask him.
That's a genius idea. I don't know if you remember, we did a parody of that on The Day Today.
Yeah.
I say we, it wasn't my idea. I wish it had been.
Wasn't me.
Where Steve Coogan played an IRA person, but he was only allowed to say his words with helium. So he had to inhale helium. And then his voice would sort of go like that. And then he'd say what it was that he needed to say. It was, what a crazy policy that was.
I think they should get Lulu to do the Trump voice.
Lovely Lulu.
Because Trump is partly Scottish, actually.
Is he?
Yeah, he is.
Genetically?
Well, I mean, not what do you mean, like morally Scottish?
No, I mean spiritually.
Is this one of those things where feminists in the 70s used to go, of course, Margaret Thatcher's not a woman, doesn't count. It's like, yes, it does. Of course, Donald Trump's not a Scotsman, you know. He's not a Scotsman. He's a Scots-German, like Prince Albert.
I'm just trying to picture the Albert Memorial in London with Trump's head on it. And that's not quite easy to pick.
I can picture a lot of things with Donald Trump's head on it.
Yeah.
A spike.
Oh, hello. And now an urgent SOS podcast message from Mr. Harry Point, who's on a voyage of self-discovery by pretending to write a novel in the Lake District. Will Mr. Harry Point urgently email home where his partner, Ms. Alex Teasdale, is seriously uninformed about what a meme coin is, and also all their money is in meme coin now. That's the end of the SOS podcast message.
I'd pay good money to have SOS messages like that on the radio. I really would.
My experience was always that wonderful thing at festivals where they would humiliate car owners. It would say, will the owner of an Austin Morris 11,000 and read out the number plate and go, as it is blocking access to the pyramid stage. I always dreamed of, it's like getting a request on the radio. I always dreamed of being the person who'd blocked Van Morrison's passage.
How can you get that close to the pyramid stage with your little Lost in Maxi or whatever it was?
Don't get me started. This is the old days when anybody could backstage. I used to go backstage at Glastonbury. I remember burgling Elvis Costello's trailer. The Triffids had given, I know this sounds a terrible story. The Triffids had given me some Feminax and I was off my head. So I went into Elvis Costello's dressing room, lectured him about something for an hour and stole a bottle of water.
There's so much to unpack. A bottle of water is the first thing.
Bottle of water.
Also, Feminax? Why?
Yeah. Feminax was a big thing in about 1987 amongst alternative rock bands.
It was. If you couldn't afford
you remember,
cocaine,
do you?
Yeah, there was this stuff called Bronchi Packs you used to be able to get at chemist. You can't get it anymore, but it's to help clear congestion, you know.
Right.
But if you took 12 of them, I mean, you're off your face all night.
Pro Plus. That was another one in about 1982. I had a friend who took a load of Pro Plus, stayed up all night and said they're not really working. And he had a massive headache afterwards.
What was Pro Plus? Was that caffeine?
Yeah, it was basically amphetamine-less amphetamines.
Right. So you could just drink a lot of coffee and have exactly the same result.
And a more pleasurable experience.
Much nicer, yeah.
Outside a cafe in Paris.
I mean, you could, in theory, get off your face with Sanatogen, but you'd have to drink at least 15 gallons of it.
What is Sanatogen?
It's fortified tonic wine.
Was it very sweet, I wonder? I imagine it was probably incredibly sickly sweet.
Don't ask me. I've never had any. But I mean,
assuming you're on it regularly.
Let's not disdain Sanatogen. That sounds like a good brand marriage, actually, for the old fools.
Do you think we could get sponsored by Sanatogen?
That or Feminax.
Feminax. We should just get sponsored by all the dodgy pseudo drugs of the 1980s.
The old fools, sponsored by Feminax, Bronchi Packs, Sanatogen.
It might come back if we can get, I don't know, Chapel Roan addicted to Sanatogen. Then I feel we've done something with our lives.
Yeah, I feel as though you missed out stage 1 of that brilliant plan.
Which is what? Meeting Chapel Roan, introducing Sanatogen to her and getting her hooked.
And getting her hooked. Actually, that's stages 1 to 5 you've missed out. But yeah, in theory, that's a brilliant idea. So, David Quantick, has anything crawled up your arse and exploded to a million smithereens this week?
Yes, but that's nothing to do with the show.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, very briefly, I was going to mention something else, but I will briefly mention this horrific Doge email thing where everyone in America who's got a job with the federal things has to write a list of 5 things they've achieved. And of course, there's been loads of great replies on the internet. Somebody just said, why don't you just do what everybody does when this happens at work, which is send them a list of things you did yesterday and pretend that these are things that you've done today. But my answer is just to be very British and just to all 5 categories, just write your mum. What? Name 5 things you did yesterday. 1, your mum. 2, your mum. 3, your mum. 4, your mum. And 5, your mum.
I think I'd do that other British thing of answering a completely different question. So if it was name 5 things that you've done that have been any fucking use whatsoever in the last week, I just do that kind of, okay, 5 albums that have shaped me in no order, no explanation. I just list 5 seminal fucking LPs that I listen to. Because they do that all the time on social media. Hey, I bet you're dying to know who I am and what kind of crazy guy I am. Okay, in no order at all, here are fucking 100 books that I've read in my life.
Just pictures of books.
Yeah.
It tells you nothing.
Album covers, yeah. Fuckers.
My dread, it's never going to happen, is to be on Desert Island Discs because I don't. 5 records. I just be going, I don't fucking know. What sort of music do you like, Lauren? What are you into? You like that indie music, don't you? You probably like pulp. So Jarvis Cocker, I'd have 5 hours of Jarvis Cocker.
I wonder if anyone's ever done that, just picked the same artist over and over. I know Elizabeth Schwarzkopf apparently picked herself, didn't she? But I think she just misunderstood the brief. But I wonder if anybody has just picked the same, composer.
Imagine if
band.
it was just, I don't know, James Corden. He goes, I think number 1 would be when I sang with Rob Brydon. Rob Brydon used to do a James Corden impression. It was just a really high voice. It was like, I think I just picked that sketch where I sang a song with Paul McCartney. Well, thank you, James. What else? I think I just picked that time I hosted the Tonight Show with James Corden.
God, you sound like a Guardian headline.
Rebecca, have you been on Desert Island Discs?
I have not, no. I've done that Private Passions on Radio 3, which was fun to do. It was very nice. And I was slightly, because I'm one of those people who I listen to a lot of classical music, but I can rarely kind of say which bit it is. Do you know what I mean? I could sing along. Yeah. I can't identify individual. I don't know anything about musical terminology or anything like that. Yeah. But it actually doesn't matter. It's one of those shows where you're allowed to say, don't know much about art, but I do know what I like. So that's basically all I do.
Love that.
David, I can't help noticing that you haven't told us the productive things that you did yesterday or today.
No.
Okay. I think we're all aware of why that might be.
I'm trying to think. No, right. So first of all, I was useful because while everyone else went out to walk the dog, I stayed in for the Tesco delivery.
Oh,
because it had cancelled itself and we had to have a Sunday afternoon Tesco delivery. I did talking to the man. When you go, whoa, have you got many to do then?
Yes. Yeah.
You have that back. That fucking coleslaw's split.
Oh, God, that's always my nightmare when they go like, so here's the substitutions. You go, these look exactly the same. It's like Tesco high fibre Grundwod, or we've given you the Grundwod that's high fibre. Okay. And then you're fine. And then my wife gets back. She goes, I can't believe you took in the Grundwod that was high fibre. I told you to get the high fibre Grundwod. I don't know. The driver said it was very cold and he didn't have many other people to do. Does that help? So I just saw a thing on the internet, and basically it was saying that with all the news about the private schools, VAT, terrible, making rich people pay money, bit of politics, all that kind of thing, some people inevitably in a survey said they were thinking of leaving Britain. And it just made me nostalgic, because they used to be, in the days of massively high labour taxes, when they used to do it, was brilliantly like 83%, and people really did leave. It made me think of that golden age when people didn't just think of leaving, they left. Rod Stewart, the Rolling Stone, Phil Collins. That's one of my favourite things, that Phil Collins left Britain. It was like, yes, you did it. There's this whole rehabilitation of Phil Collins these days. Oh, he's a very good drummer, you know. Played with Brian Eno, all this stuff. He was in Genesis. I hate him. He faxed his divorce to his wife. He sent of course, that's not there anymore. The evidence is a fax. But I found a couple of favourite facts. One is that Tracy Emin, at some point, was considering leaving Britain on a 50% tax.
Yeah.
I don't think she did, so she's probably living in a shed now because of the tax. Two more facts, and I will stop talking then. One is that in 1979, to avoid paying tax, the two Ronnies went to Australia.
No.
Two Ronnies went to Australia.
In 1979, both Ronnie Corbett and Ronnie Barker spent a year in Australia.
Good Lord, really?
And I don't know why that's funny, but it is.
Just to dodge tax.
Just to dodge
whole
tax. I mean,
year.
you know, Australia used to have these horrible things when the cast of Hello, Hello or On the Buses would tour.
Yeah.
Because Australia then, I hasten to add, was kind of culturally still a kind of shit Britain. And we could send them our leftover sitcoms. Imagine that's what the two Ronnies did.
Goodness me.
Wow. Talking of sitcoms, someone posted a picture from the gay scene in Manchester with these two leather boys looking at each other with the, you know, those hats they used to have. Yeah, and I was like scrolling past. My first thought was, oh, fuck, they're bringing on the buses back.
It gives a whole new meaning to I'll get you butler.
Oh, we've got another, hang on. And now, an urgent SOS podcast message from Miss Delilah Palmer, last heard of 6 months ago in the midlife area doing something in graphics. Well, Miss Delilah Palmer urgently contact her sister Rose on WhatsApp, as her greedy, piss-taking cat, Eagle Piggle, is now dangerously fat. That's the end of the SOS podcast message.
These are excellent. I sense a Christmas novelty book coming on, Ian.
What did I say, Quantic? What did I
we
say?
should do it.
You know,
There you go.
who was it? Alan Corrin came up with the idea of the ultimate kind of Christmas book, which was called Golfing for Cats. I think that was him.
Yeah.
So maybe if we have grumpy old cats,
Grumpy
or
old
something, or
cats.
shit happens to cats, that
Yeah.
would really sell.
What do people like? Shit fucking TikTok Nazi cats. The Great Shitting Cat Bake Off.
I'm buying that.
Before we leave the whole...
You can't do links. Was that a
I'm
link?
not doing a link. I just remembered that, who was his name? I've got his name here. Rob Chapman was watching Porridge the other night on one of those channels where you can see Porridge from the 1970s. And all the pin-ups have been hazed out on the wall. All the tits have been pixelated.
Oh, really?
And it seems like, who's that for? I mean, apart from the virtue signalling of those days are gone, we're not going to allow you to see tits on a wall. That stuff doesn't happen anymore. Not on our channel anyway. But what's it for?
Also, they wouldn't have been naked, would they? Actually, have been proper page 3 things
Yeah.
back then, because it was such a mainstream show.
It's a prison cell.
Mm.
I mean, it's
It's not a
tits
prison
out.
cell, it's a set on a TV show.
Oh,
It's not
my
real.
God. Everything makes sense now. But,
That explains the abrupt leaps in the conversation when 1 minute you're in a cell and the next
yeah,
you're outside.
You're in Australia. And the next you're in fucking Australia on a
There's a
tax dodge.
kangaroo in the cell with Fletch. Actually, the other greatest moment of my life, this is just me, is I was interviewing Ronnie Barker for a magazine, and he was very nice, a little bit standoffish. And then he said something about, what's the character I really hate, Arkwright, the stammering man.
Yeah.
And he did a bit of Arkwright. He's like, Arkwright would have gone, blah, blah, blah. And then I have to grab this. I said to him, what would Fletcher do? Because I love Porridge. And he did Fletcher, and he was so good. that for a moment I was actually there with. It was terrifying.
Wow,
Yeah.
But
really?
I've met Norman Stanley Fletcher. That was a high point of my life.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
well done.
Well done.
Well done.
That's not a react.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Well done, you.
yeah.
Do you think, though, coming back to what Ian was saying for a change, that maybe there was a subgroup of people who watch reruns of Porridge to masturbate?
Oh,
No,
Lord.
that's a ridiculous
That
fucking
can't be a thing.
theory. You're an idiot. No offence, but that's bollocks.
That makes it all better. No offence.
Of course not. And also, I mean, here we are. Oh, let's save the children from being aware of tits on a prison wall. I mean, four clicks and they're into fucking Pornhub now on the internet. What's it for, this hazing out? Is it just a kind of... I don't understand it. I tell you another fucking group, a class of people I fucking hate. That's cyclists.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Oh,
I don't mind people on bicycles. I don't mind people cycling, but it's this whole cult of cycling and cyclists. And I happened to mention on Blue Sky the other day that the biggest fucking tsunami of shit I got on Twitter wasn't from the Nazis I baited or the homophobes, or it was cyclists. All you've got to do is go on social media and say, please, if you're a cyclist, can you not cycle at high speed on a pavement where I'm walking my young children, you fucking arsehole? That's all you've got to say.
Yeah, just something like that.
And they come, it's the same thing they come back with. Okay, we have to jump red lights, otherwise the cars will kill us. Don't blame us for cycling on the pavement. It's the cars. You have to stop the cars. And you go, no, fuck that. I want to stop you from cycling on the pavement. Oh, God. They're absolutely unbearable. Fuck off, cyclists.
Were you once traumatised by a cyclist? Is that what we've got here? There's a lot of unresolved anger, Ian.
No, although I should mention our producer Steve's son, Quinn, was hit recently, broke his fucking collarbone by a cyclist with no brakes.
That's awful.
So, yeah, it's still raw. Oh, yeah, the whole issue's very, very raw. And
I just think that you need to reverse the polarity. You know, it's like, imagine if you swap the concept of cyclist and driver. Imagine if you had to go at someone for driving a fucking bus on the pavement. And they said, oh, well, I have to do it. It's because of the cyclists.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You're driving a vehicle.
Same thing.
And don't
it's
get
really
me started.
not the same thing.
It is the same thing.
No,
they shouldn't
really
be on
not.
the pavement. Pavements are for pedestrians. Look, I've proved it by shouting, Rebecca.
Oh, you did. That's very true. Yes. Silly me.
Well, how is it not the same thing?
Well, a bus is a lot bigger than a bike, for one thing.
All right, a really small bus.
That would be fucking terrifying. I mean, let's face it. You look over your shoulder, there's a fucking number 36 bearing down on you.
Actually,
I mean, a penny farthing is a closer analogy. People riding penny farthing, that's similar in size to a bus, to a single-story bus.
Right. I concede, I replace it with joggers who are cycling.
Joggers can fuck off.
The worst thing about joggers is they always do this pass act. They overtake you and they basically go, thank you very much for letting me pass. You were up my bum, you evil lycra turd.
Also, A, I'm fucking old. B, so, and therefore bit deaf. And C, have I got to C or D? I can't remember because A, I'm forgetful. I can't hear them. I can't move out of the way. They come padding up behind you. They haven't got a bell. They don't have to fucking wear a bell, the joggers. And the whole PASAG thing, you're right, where they go, oh, God, can't you know, oh, fucking hell, I don't want to be anywhere in your way, mate, where you're guffing out this atomized shit in your phlegm. I don't want to fucking breathe it in.
Absolutely.
Shit off.
I have to say that is a real bugbear of mine. During COVID, just, you know, before, in that awful point when we didn't really know what the outdoors was relatively safe.
Yeah.
And everybody was encouraged, you know, obviously to go out and get some air. And it was the joggers who drove me insane because I'm such a hypochondriac anyway. And to have someone pounding up behind me, and then as they pass you, they go, you just think, well, that's it then. I've got it. So, and now I'm going to pass it on to my elderly parents. And thank you very much. And ultimately, they kind of said, oh, actually, outdoors, you're probably fine. So it never did happen. But it stayed with me, that thing of just don't do that gasping at me.
Yeah, fuck that. Also, they're all the same, right? Motorists. It's war. Keir Starmer declares war on motorists. If you describe yourself as a motorist, like a cyclist or a jogger, if you ascribe some kind of class characteristic to yourself, you're almost certainly a wanker. And I've had a couple of run-ins with, but I can't go any. I'm sorry, I'm holding you up, arsehole in a car. I can't literally cannot walk any faster across the road because I'm old and my lungs are fucked. So you'll just have to wait. You see him sitting there. Oh, God, come on, you fanny. And obviously I did that 20 years ago, but that's different. It's different now.
Karma, eh? What are you going to do?
Yeah, it's a bitch, isn't it?
I was in Wales at the weekend where they have now the famously hated by idiots 20 mile an hour thing in urban areas. And it's kind of fun because it's a challenge to go really slowly.
Yeah.
And the other cars want to go fast too, but they come down quite heavily on people who drive fast.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's like being in a slow race.
Yeah, they have it in most places in London now. And you're right. I mean, I'm not a particularly fast driver. That may surprise you. I know I have a devil-may-care reputation. But
Christ, it's Rebecca Front! Jump into the hedge!
Away!
Oh, my God.
Here she comes in her jalopy.
She's on the pavement!
She comes in her estate car with the dog safely harnessed in the back.
She's totaled a Pomeranian.
But it's really hard, actually, to drive at 20. I've been doing it, if any police are listening. But it is really hard to maintain a slow speed of something. I don't know if it's just that perverse thing, like, try not to do a Nazi salute. And then, it's very, very difficult to avoid doing it, apparently.
No, it's a Roman speed.
Oh, sorry, a Roman.
You've got
to drive at a Roman speed. Controversial Roman speed.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, another SOS coming in.
Ian's bagpipes of doom.
And now an urgent SOS podcast message from Mr. Josh Bunce, believed to be foraging in the New Forest. Will Mr. Josh Bunce of Haggerston Ends, London Premium, urgently contact his partner, also named Josh, who is on mescaline and developing deep sexual feelings for a chair. That's the end of the SOS podcast message.
If these are the 5 things that you achieved yesterday, Ian, then I think you should be very proud of yourself.
3. I mean, there are only 3.
There are only 3. There's no more to come.
No, that's it.
Oh.
We're out.
Oh, that's a bit disappointing.
Which is a shame, because I do like going...
Absolutely. You could make the same noise with a balloon. You're aware of that, don't you? You could do that little thing with the nozzle.
He's not got the breath.
Oh, you mean I could blow up a balloon?
Yeah.
Drop my piece of paper, tweak the end of it. That sounds a lot easier than blowing into a voice changer,
I think
Rebecca.
so. I kind of think so.
Paper and comb.
Kemi Badenoch.
Oh, did you say Kemi Badenoch? It sounded like you were having a fit.
Coming up on the bridleway behind me in a fucking...
on a penny farthing.
Lorry.
Horses only, Kemi Badenoch.
She was in conversation, can you imagine it, with Jordan Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
And she was explaining with great disdain how shit the Lib Dems were. But everything she said about it sounded great. She's going,
what did she say?
She's going, oh, the third party Liberal Democrats who have 14 times as many members as Reform. It's a protest party for many people on the left. And she goes, like, really, they're not on Twitter, but they are in local communities. Typical Liberal Democrat will be somebody who's good at fixing their church roof.
Ah, the bastards.
And the people in the community like them. And they're like, fix the church roof. You should be a member of parliament. She's going, but they have silly... She says they want to shut down all the prisons and abandon a nuclear deterrent. And she goes, people being nice. And if you're not paying attention, you'll think, that's good. These are nice people.
But if you are paying attention,
we should vote for them, she says. But actually, they will destroy the whole country if you let them at it.
Right, that makes sense.
Other things that Kemi Badenoch hates about the Liberal Democrats. If you go to their houses, they'll give you a warm welcome, a cup of tea and a biscuit. If you're watching television, they'll say, what would you like to watch? And let you have a go on the remote. If your car is broken down outside, they'll invite you in to call the AA and make you a coffee while you're waiting. They'll destroy this nation!
Yeah, exactly that. She's a fucking idiot. I swear to God.
She is the best.
And they should just release the transcript of a conversation with Jordan Peterson as a part of political broadcast. I think it's the best thing anyone's ever said about the Lib Dems, including within the Lib Dems themselves.
That's great, because even the bit about kind of destroying society is quite kind of hip, isn't it? Which is not a word you associate with the Liberal Democrats, but I quite like the idea of them being a little bit edgy and dangerous and walking around in leather jackets with pleather jackets with the collar turned.
If you're eating a cheese sandwich, they'll suddenly stop and say, "Oh God, there's a bit of glass on the bread," and pluck it off for you.
There's a bit of glass on the bread.
Have you not had that?
No.
It's a classic Lib Dem move, the old switcheroo. Put a bit of glass on the bread, and then just as you're about to eat it...
They will put... The fuckers.
I know.
I'm not voting for them. We've insulted cyclists, motorists, joggers, and listeners comprehensively, and podcasters, and everybody. You've been listening to The Old Fools, and this is the part where we run out of conversation.
We'd like to thank Rebecca Front. I think we'd like to apologise to Rebecca Front, to be honest.
Yeah, I think she has to come back and do a proper one without us fucking ranting all over it.
I'll happily do that. I can cycle all the way there.
But anyway, a little more about me. Here are 20 albums that have changed me. I'm just going to show you the covers.
Can we have the Vision On music as he gets out his album collection? Live at the Hollywood Bowl.
For you, Tommy, the dinner is over.
Get it, go.